The year is 1610. It is the evening of December 26th. And I, Thurzo, have been sent by King Matthias to go discover and put an end to some of the questions about Elizabeth Bathory and her castle up on the hill. Young girls have been sent up there with the promise of good pay for decent work. But they go up and then they never come back. It is my job to figure out where the girls have gone, what they're doing, and what happened to them. So please, if you have any interest in mystery or the unknown, follow me as we go through and figure out what's going on. Let's go. Alright, so today I'm going to tell you about Elizabeth Bathory, who she was, what she's known for, and sadly her demise. So it's going to be kind of gruesome. If you don't like squeamish things, this is your precursor. So first off, the reason why I'm talking about this is because it was the topic I picked, and I have a huge interest in mysteries and just all sorts of crazy serial killer things, and I do a lot of research outside of classes just on it, so this was really right up my alley, and that's why I think I'm a credible source, because I did a lot of research on her, and it took me every bit of the time that we were given to get this presentation done. So without further ado, let's continue. She was, to begin with, a Hungarian noblewoman, married to Ferenc dynasty, had 6 kids, but 2 of them died right after birth, so there was only 4 known. And around the age of 48, her husband died, and she became the sole caretaker of the castle that he left to her. And that's a lot of responsibility, especially when you have all sorts of land to cover, and then a secondary castle that not many people knew about. So she had 2 property places that she had to have full control over 24/7. Now, what is she known for? She's known for the murder of anywhere between 80 and 650 young women and a few noble children as well. And she was also known as the person who bathed in the blood of virgins. And how did she do this? As I mentioned earlier, as Thurzo, she ended up luring servant girls to the castle to work for her as maids. But what she would end up doing is she would eventually end up torturing them and killing them and draining them of their blood so that she could take blood baths. Now, her methods of torture were kind of scattered all over the place. There was no one set pattern that she would use for each victim, and the victims were not always buried properly. Sometimes they were disposed of behind the castle, other times they were just dismembered and left to be found in other places. So I'm not going to get into the details on that because I can see a couple squeamish faces already. If you want to look into that, go ahead and be my guest, but I don't want to make people cry in class. They're really sad. I hear the gasp of relief, so it was not a very pleasant thing to look into. So in conclusion, she's a Hungarian noblewoman. She bathed in the blood of virgins, and she was a murderer, and she died a lonely death. But the way she ended up dying was she was found by Thurzo in the middle of a torture session, and he ended up turning her in to the King Matthias, and then 2 of her servants were arrested, but they couldn't arrest her because she was noble. And of course, if you're noble, why would you arrest somebody of a high status? Because that's going to reflect badly on all the other high people in that area. So what they decided to do instead was sanction her to a little itty-bitty room in the basement with maybe slits about this big. I think there was 4 or 5 of them sporadically around the room for ventilation, and so they could pass food into her. She lasted like that for 4 years. How would you like to be stuck in a room for 4 years? Smaller than this, just pacing back and forth. I think I would have went mad. But I mean, she kind of already was mad, so that's to be determined. But she was found by a servant at the end, 1614, I think it was August 21st. Yeah, August 21st of 1614. It was in the afternoon. She was found dead in her chamber. They sent somebody in and prodded her to make sure that she was dead and not playing the game, and she was determined dead at that point. So this was a very rough topic, but interesting nonetheless. Thank you, Bishop. So, in conclusion, if you decide to go and adventure be careful and know what you're trying to get yourself into, because you may find somebody like Elizabeth. Thank you.